and I went down, and I opened my eyes in my mask in the darkness with my flashlight, and I saw, like right in front of me, this huge eyeball.
Today, most of the world's trade moves through the oceans and seas. But even with all this activity, our oceans remain largely a mystery. There are countless creatures and things hidden in the deep that we may not yet be ready to understand. With that in mind, here are 20 terrifying deep-sea monsters that have actually been found in the ocean. Number 20. Megamouth shark. Alright folks, imagine being called megamouth because you've got this enormous 4-foot-wide chomper. But guess what? You're still the small one in the filter-feeding shark fam, feeling like the Jan Brady of sharks, aren't we? Megamouth. Whale shark, whale shark, whale shark. Now these massive sneaky sharks like their privacy. They're basically the introverts of the deep sea. Netflix and chill? More like dark depths and filter. Am I right? Did you know that they weren't even discovered until the 70s? Like, how does a literal giant shark go unnoticed? Were we all too distracted grooving to disco? And guess how they found the first one? By accident. Imagine setting up a fancy naval contraption and boom, you get the world's largest surprise fish. But here's a twist. They're like the underwater version of M&Ms, lighting up to attract their favorite snacks. And their baby game, chef's kiss. They don't have a placenta connection, so the babies munch on eggs like they're at an all-you-can-eat buffet. Question time. What's cooler than a shark that glows in the dark, has a megamouth, and throws its own prenatal brunch? Nothing, that's what. And you know it's funny, even in the vastness of our oceans, it reminds us that there's always something new to discover, even if it's hiding in plain depth. Dive deeper, folks, dive deeper. Number 19. Barrel eye fish. So picture this, in a world of Finding Nemo sequels, there's this rad fish named Barry the barrel eye fish to be precise. Ever met a fish with a see-through forehead and neon green mood ring eyes? Yeah, didn't think so. You see, Barry's always looking up literally, 'cause that's where his eyes point. But is he an eternal optimist? Nah, just hungry. He's on the lookout for some delish zooplankton treats above him. Imagine watching Netflix through your ceiling, and when your pizza arrives, wham, eyes forward. That's Barry. Now Barry's ROVs are basically the paparazzi of the deep, and have only snapped Barry's pic 9 times in over 5,600 dives. Dude's elusive. Maybe he's just camera shy. Perhaps binge-watching Stranger Things in the ocean's Netflix and chill zone. But seriously, doesn't it make you wonder? In a vast ocean of the unknown, what other quirky celebs are down there waiting for their 15 minutes of fame? Number 18. Pacific black dragonfish. Ever heard of the sultry femme fatale of the ocean? No? Gather around and let me spill the tea. Did you know there are these super cool female black dragons that are a whole 2 feet long, rocking some fierce fang-like teeth and a stylish chin whisker? And their male counterparts, adorably tiny at 3 inches with a rustic brown hue. Yep, these poor dudes can't even eat. They live just long enough for a little romance. But here's where things get crazy. That Starbucks cup you forgot at the beach? It might end up photobombing these mysterious creatures. Because real talk, our ocean isn't this far-off fantasy land. It's affected by our every move. So next time you see something weird floating around, remember those fierce females using their lure to snatch a snack. Can you imagine the drama? Number 17. Blue-ringed octopus. Ready for a tale from down under, mate? Ever heard about the southern blue-ringed octopus? When it's angry or threatened, it flashes brighter than the premiere of a blockbuster movie. Picture this, little octo rocking neon blue rings, hiding out in the southern coast of Australia, munching on shrimps like popcorn at a movie theater. But here's the plot twist. Its venom is so wickedly powerful, there's no known antivenom. Imagine being at a theater and someone yells, "Don't eat that popcorn, too late, you ate it." That's what the venom's like. Ever watch a dramatic love story? Here's one. Mama octopus lays eggs, guarding them for months, and doesn't even leave for a snack. She's like the ultimate binge watcher. But like every movie star with a tragic backstory, after her kids hatch, she bows out of the scene. Popcorn. Anyone? Oh, and did you hear about the mystery octopus from the Bay of Bengal? Scientists are still debating its movie genre. Punny, right? Remember folks, every creature, even a flashy octopus, has a story worth telling. Number 16. Vampire squid. Did you ever hear about the vampire squid? No, it's not the latest character in a vampire versus werewolf movie. This little dude, when scared, flips its cape like Count Dracula and shows off spiky arms, trying to be all tough. But here's the gag. It's a total softie. Instead of hunting, it's like, nah, I'll just eat some leftover food from the top. Lazy much? Speaking of food, ever thought squids would throw ink at you like in a cartoon? Well, this one goes all disco and shoots out twinkling bioluminescent party lights to confuse its enemies. Maybe it's trying to start an underwater rave. And you know the lights at the tips of its arms? It might be like, "Hey there, want a date?" Because these lights could be their version of texting. Dating must be so hard down there. I bet they use deep sea match too. But on a serious note, it's tough to study these cool creatures because they live way down deep. Who knows what other fab creatures we might find down there? Remember, sometimes the most intriguing things are the ones we know the least about. Now it's time for today's topic. A former National Geographic diver, Sarah Whitmore, has come forward with a chilling account of what she encountered during a deep-sea expedition in the Southern Ocean. Known for her fearless dives into the most remote and unexplored parts of the ocean, Sarah's story has left even seasoned marine biologists speechless. While on a mission to document deep-sea life near Antarctica, Sarah and her team descended to depths of over 600 feet. The water was pitch black, illuminated only by their dive lights. As Sarah scanned the abyss, she noticed a massive, pale figure moving in the distance. At first, she thought it was a large whale, but as it came closer, she realized it was something entirely different. The creature, which she described as humanoid in shape, had smooth, white skin and elongated limbs. Its face was featureless except for two large, black eyes that seemed to study her. The being moved with an eerie grace, almost as if it were curious about the divers. Sarah managed to capture a few blurry photos before the creature disappeared into the darkness. When she shared her experience, skeptics dismissed it as a hoax, but others believe she encountered the legendary Ningen, a mysterious aquatic humanoid rumored to inhabit Antarctic waters. Could this be proof of its existence? Number 15. Giant stingray. Let me tell you about the coolest fish you've probably never heard of, the Himantura kitapongi freshwater stingray. Now imagine a fish so flat it looks like it's been pancaked and then slapped with a long tail that would make Rapunzel jealous. This big dude can grow up to the size of, well, your entire bedroom, and it has a barb that could be as long as a school ruler. They hang out in rivers and get this even near cities. But here's where it gets wild. Even though it's ginormous, scientists only found out about it 20 years ago. I mean, can you imagine if SpongeBob had a pet this size and never told us? But here's the kicker. These rays are playing hide and seek in real life. They're harder to find now. Maybe because of pollution and people messing up their homes. It's like taking away their Krusty Krab. While some of their fishy friends are having an even tougher time, these rays seem to be a bit sneaky, and that might just be their secret survival trick. Makes you wonder, what other amazing creatures are out there just waiting for their spotlight? Number 14. Japanese spider crab. Ever heard of a crab with legs longer than your average sofa? Let me introduce you to Mr. Spider Crab of Japan. Not his official name, but it's way catchier, right? Picture this. He's trotting, or should I say crab walking, across the seafloor like he's on a catwalk, flaunting those 12-foot-long legs. Did someone say leg day every day? Because this guy's workout routine is a mystery we all want to know. 10 legs, guys. 10. And those sea pods? Well, male spider crabs use them as a flex. Look at my long claw legs, ladies. While the ladies, on the other hand, are like, honey, less is more. And if Mr. Crab loses a leg? No sweat, he'll just grow it back after a spa day. Molting? But spa day sounds posher. But here's the funny bit. Instead of swimming like Ariel or hunting Nemo, this pop culture fan prefers to dine like a hipster scavenger, feasting on the seafloor's leftover specials. Prying open a mollusk? That's just him making a DIY sushi dish. And while our leggy friend might not be signing autographs anytime soon, don't you think there's something profoundly cool about being the largest crab around and just minding your own crabby business? Life's all about strutting your stuff, even if it's on the seafloor. Number 13. Stargazer. Ever heard of a fish that's more ninja than Nemo and with a side gig as an electrician? Enter the stargazer fish. Ever wonder how the fish version of a night's Netflix binge looks? Picture this. A fish chilling, buried in the sand, eyes peeking out like someone's spying the pizza delivery guy. With its eyes on the top of its head, it's basically the paparazzi of the ocean floor, capturing unsuspecting prey. Snap, snap. But here's where it gets wilder. Not only does it vacuum in its food, Dyson, are you watching? But the ladies also play a little game of drop and float with their eggs. And can we talk about that built-in shovel fin? Handy for burying in the occasional sand castle, perhaps? Ever touched an electric fence? Well, its head organ can deliver shock value like no other. And it's not for a laugh. But let's be real. Would you actually fish for this 20-pound shocker from the Atlantic's Got Talent? Probably not. But if you ever find one on your hook, expect some serious drag. P.S. If fish could name themselves, it'd probably prefer Undercover Ocean Overlord. Just a thought. In a world full of goldfish, dare to be a stargazer. Number 12. The gulper eel. Ever heard of the gulper fish? No? Picture this. A fish that could probably swallow your pet cat whole, and your coffee table, and maybe even that oversized plushie from the carnival. Now I'm exaggerating just a tad, but these deep-sea divas have the biggest pouty lips you could ever see. Think of Kylie Jenner's lip challenge, but underwater and on steroids. And oh boy, some of these guys have mouths longer than their bodies. Imagine trying to pull off that look at a red carpet event. Who are you wearing? Mouth. Just mouth. Some even glow in the dark. I mean, who needs a flashlight when you can have a gulper? And you thought that 10-foot charging cable for your phone was excessive? Most of the gulper's 1.8-meter length is just tail. Overcompensating, perhaps? But here's a thought to chew on. In a world obsessed with looks, maybe the gulper's big mouth is a cheeky reminder that it's not about the size, but what you do with it. Thoughts? Number 11. Sunfish. Ever met a fish that couldn't decide whether it wanted to be cute, scary, or just plain weird? Well, meet the giant sunfish. It's so massive and oddly shaped that people in Germany call it the swimming head. Imagine that, just a head swimming around. And here's a fun question. If you could nickname this fish based on where you live, what would you call it? Bumpy McBumpface? Flap Flop? Well, some thought these big fish were just lazy floaters. Turns out they're surprisingly agile swimmers who munch on jellyfish, small fish, and wait for it seabirds. Crazy, right? With a glow-up story like no other, they grow from tiny star-shaped babies to whopping flat, round adults and can weigh as much as 3 small cars. Now that's a glow-up. So what do you think? Are they the superheroes of the sea, or just the fishy version of a gentle giant? Drop a comment below, and if you think this fishtail was as fantastic as we do, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more wacky wildlife stories. Number 10. Cone snail. Alright folks, ever had that moment where you'd spot a killer pair of shoes that are so you'd sell your grandma's knitting kit to own them? Well, what if those shoes could actually, kill? Enter the cone snail, the Louboutin of the sea, though way more lethal. These bad boys have shells so fabulous that even Ariel would trade her voice for them. Again. But there's a twist. This isn't your grandma's decorative shell. It's armed and dangerous. Think of them as nature's ultimate clickbait, gorgeous on the outside, deadly on the inside. Fun fact, there are 1,000 species of these divas, but only 2 have a lethal trap record. Seriously, they're the real Ocean's 11. But here's a wilder thought. Imagine accidentally stepping on one during a sunset beach stroll, thinking it's just a pretty trinket. Boom. It's the universe reminding you that sometimes beauty is a beast, like a venomous beast that can knock off 15 people with one sting. So next time you're dreaming of that perfect shell for your collection, ask yourself, is the aesthetic worth the anesthetic? Remember kids, looks can be deceiving, and nature always has the last laugh. Number 9. The anglerfish. You ever heard of the deep-sea anglerfish? The one that looks like it was crafted by Tim Burton during a particularly dark and stormy night? Yep, that's the one. Life's rough down there in the deep. It's like trying to find Wi-Fi in a remote mountain cabin. So these anglerfish ladies, and yep, only the ladies, come with their own rave light, a lure packed with glow-up bacteria. Think of it as the ultimate Snapchat filter, attracting both a dinner date and a romantic one. Speaking of dates, let's chat about the anglerfish boys. Tiny little fellas, like if Groot stayed baby-sized forever. Instead of traditional wooing, flowers, chocolates, or awkward DMs, they just bite the ladies and become instant boyfriends. Talk about clingy. Am I right? Though unlike your ex, they actually let go after a while. And here's the kicker. Despite the biting and the glowing and the deep-sea drama, they're just out there doing their thing, unaffected by us land dwellers. Makes you wonder, right? In a world of Instagram influencers and viral TikToks, there's a little fishy down there keeping things 100% real. Maybe we've been looking at the wrong places for our life lessons. Number 8. Sea serpent. Have you ever heard the one about the sea serpent who tried to become a movie star? So there's this legendary sea serpent, right? Kind of like the Leviathan from the Old Testament, but with more Hollywood aspirations. He was tired of people mistaking him for a bunch of porpoises or just some random seaweed. I mean, could you imagine being as legendary as the multi-headed Tiamat and folks think you're just seaweed? Rude. But the sea serpent wasn't just about fame. He wanted to remind people of the ancient tales where he was the star, the creature that sailors whispered about in fear and awe. He even tried to get a cameo in a pirate movie, thinking it would be the perfect way to reclaim his terrifying reputation. Unfortunately, the director thought he was just a CGI concept and told him to get in line with the Kraken. Frustrated, he swam off to the depths, where he ran into a giant oarfish who told him, "Hey, at least you're not mistaken for a ribbon." The serpent laughed, realizing that even in the deep sea, everyone had their own identity crisis. And speaking of identity, some scientists believe that many sea serpent sightings were actually misidentified basking sharks or giant squids, but our serpent knew better. He was the real deal. Still, he couldn't help but wonder if he'd ever get the recognition he deserved, or if he'd just remain a misunderstood legend. Anyway, he auditions for a film, and they're all, "Hey, aren't you that giant squid from Scandinavia?" And he's like, "Nope, I'm just a sea serpent. But hey, I've got this cousin, Aretus, totally looks like me." And speaking of looking like someone else, remember that scene in a movie where there's a whale wrestling with a sea monster? Turns out it might have just been a sperm whale having sushi for lunch. But here's the thing, our sea serpent, although mistaken for other creatures, always knew who he was inside. Kinda makes you think, no matter how many times someone mistakes you for something you're not, always stay true to your legendary self. Because in the end, isn't that the real plot twist? Number 7. Lancet fish. Okay, imagine if a deep-sea version of your 90s slap bracelet went on a Finding Nemo adventure. Meet the lancet fish, the Alloposaurus, which by the way sounds like a dino that couldn't get its Hogwarts letter. Like, oh no scales? Just try wizard school. With jaws straight out of a horror flick and eyes that could probably see your past mistakes, these 6-foot wanderers dive deep into the sea's very own VIP club, the Twilight Zone. Seriously, Bella and Edward would totally fit in. Ever heard of the phrase, "I'm so hungry I could eat a lancet fish"? Nah, me neither. Humans aren't queuing up for their squishy, gelatinous meat, but for sharks and their sea buddies. It's like their version of sushi night. And get this, these ambush artists have an eat now, digest later approach. Can you imagine chowing down on an entire pizza and then deciding, I'll just digest slice by slice over the week? Speaking of diets, when we checked their stomachs in 2018, not personally ew, we found out a lot about who eats who down there. Ever thought about finding a new species of squid in another fish's belly? Well, it's happened. In the vast mystery of our oceans, creatures like the lancet fish remind us that there's always something more to learn, often in places and ways we least expect. Who knew the Twilight Zone could be so fishy? Number 6. Pufferfish. Alright, pop quiz, hot shot. Ever heard of the pufferfish? You know, that fish that's basically the aquatic version of a balloon? Yeah, that one. So imagine you're a pufferfish just floating along and then boom, you puff up because your swimming skills are, let's just say, on par with a toddler's first time at the deep end. It's nature's way of saying, I can't run, but try eating me now. It's like turning into a spiky, living beach ball. Sounds fun, right? But here's the twist. Some brave, or maybe crazy, humans actually eat these guys. Yep, in Japan they call it fugu, expensive and fancy. The toxin that makes pufferfish so deadly is called tetrodotoxin, and it's found in their liver, ovaries, and skin. This neurotoxin is 1,200 times more potent than cyanide, and there's no known antidote, which is why eating fugu is such a high-stakes gamble. Interestingly, not all pufferfish are born toxic. They acquire their venom by consuming certain bacteria in their diet. Despite the danger, fugu is considered a delicacy, and is often served as thinly sliced sashimi or in hot pots. Chefs who prepare fugu must undergo rigorous training and obtain a special license to ensure they can remove the toxic parts safely. Even with these precautions, there are still occasional cases of poisoning, usually from unlicensed or home-prepared fugu. The thrill of eating something so potentially deadly has made it a symbol of status and bravery in Japanese culture. But remember that supervillain who used poison as a weapon? The pufferfish is that villain, but in fish form. We're talking more lethal than cyanide, and there's enough venom in just one to knock off like 30 people. It's like nature's Russian roulette for your taste buds. Now some chefs train for years just to serve it without sending their customers to the great sushi bar in the sky. Would you risk it? Talk about living on the edge. Or fin. Anyway, isn't it wild how something so deadly can be seen as a delicacy? Makes you wonder what other dangerous delights we're missing out on. Number 5. Giant isopod. Ever heard of a land bug that decided, meh, I'm going to be massive and chill in the deep sea? Well, let me introduce you to giant isopods. Imagine a woodlouse, but supersize it and throw it 500 meters below the ocean's surface. Yep, that's them. These 14-legged titans, often more than 30 centimeters long, are the mysterious, largely unexplored cousins of our garden's tiniest bugs. Giant isopods are scavengers, feasting on the remains of dead whales, fish, and other creatures that sink to the ocean floor, earning them the nickname, clean-up crew of the deep. They can go for years without eating, surviving on their slow metabolism and the occasional feast when food becomes available. Their armored exoskeletons protect them from predators, while their large, compound eyes help them navigate the pitch-black depths. Interestingly, they curl up into a ball, much like their land-based relatives, when they feel threatened. Scientists believe their massive size is a result of deep-sea gigantism, a phenomenon where animals in the deep ocean grow larger due to factors like high pressure and low temperatures. Despite their intimidating appearance, they are harmless to humans and play a vital role in maintaining the health of deep-sea ecosystems. Though they've been around since 1879, well, we discovered them then, even experts like Miranda Lowe are still scratching their heads about them. And just imagine, there's one chilling in a collection from the Florida Keys right now. Number 4. Goblin shark. Ready for a fishy tale that'll reel you in? Picture this, a goblin shark named Gary who's basically the Jack Sparrow of the deep sea. Why? Well, with his peculiar, blade-like snout, and jaws that shoot out faster than a plot twist in a soap opera, he's definitely one quirky pirate. With those slender, fong-like teeth up front and his tinier, crushy-crush teeth in the back, you might say he's got a real bite list of Hollywood's top dentists. But Gary's not just about looks. His protrusible jaws are a marvel of evolution, allowing him to snatch prey with lightning speed in the pitch-black depths. Scientists have clocked his jaw extension at speeds of up to 3.1 meters per second, making it one of the fastest feeding mechanisms in the animal kingdom. His snout, covered in electroreceptors, helps him detect the faintest electrical signals from prey hiding in the sediment. Goblin sharks are often called living fossils because they've remained relatively unchanged for over 125 million years, surviving in the deep sea while other species went extinct. Despite their fearsome appearance, they're slow swimmers, relying on stealth and ambush tactics to catch their prey. Their diet includes fish, squid, and crustaceans, which they gulp down whole with their extendable jaws. And while they're rarely seen by humans, the occasional accidental catch has provided researchers with valuable insights into their mysterious lives. Ever noticed how he's got those tiny black eyes without the nictitating eyelids most sharks have? It's like he's perpetually watching a 3D movie without the glasses. Now you might be wondering, where does Gary like to hang out? From the cinematic waters off Japan, the dramatic depths near New Zealand, to the star-studded waters off Madeira and the action-packed Australian coast, Gary's making waves in all the ocean's hotspots. Did I mention females might grow even larger than males? So if Gary's the Jack Sparrow, there's definitely an Elizabeth Swann out there who's the real showstopper. Thought of the day. Even in the mysterious depths of the ocean, everyone's a star in their own blockbuster. Number 3. Sarcastic fringehead fish. Ever heard of the sarcastic fringehead? Sounds like the name of a moody rock band, right? Imagine this. A guy's just chilling in his bachelor pad when a lady drops by and says, "Hey, watch my eggs, will you?" That's right. The ladies lay their eggs in the guy's crib, and he's like, "Sure, why not?" But wait, there's a catch. Other dudes want to show off, so they open their humongous mouths, like comically oversized. These mouth battles, known as mouth wrestling, are not just for show. They're a way for the males to establish dominance and secure their territory. The larger the mouth, the more intimidating the display, and the more likely the male is to win the fight and keep his bachelor pad. Their mouths are so large that when fully extended, they look like something out of a sci-fi movie, with colorful, flared jaws that seem almost too big for their bodies. Despite their aggressive displays, sarcastic fringeheads are actually quite shy and prefer to stay hidden in burrows, shells, or even discarded bottles. They're found off the coast of California and Baja California, living in sandy or rocky areas of the ocean floor. Their quirky behavior and unique appearance have made them a favorite among marine biologists and underwater photographers. And while they may look intimidating, they're harmless to humans and play an important role in their ecosystem by keeping smaller fish populations in check. Picture two dudes in a who's got the bigger mouth contest almost making out. It's like trying to prove who's the ultimate Marvel fan by showing off the most merch. And you'd think a big mouth would make for a great dinner party, right? Nope. These dudes probably struggle with their giant mouths, like trying to sip a drink through a Twizzler straw. Oh, but they love squid eggs, just like we love our avocado toast, right? And speaking of food, apparently no one wants to fish them. Maybe their sarcasm is too much for seafood lovers. Who knew nature could be this entertaining? Goes to show, sometimes the quirkiest stories are right beneath our noses, or, in gaping fish mouths. Don't underestimate the little guys. They've got big stories to tell. Number 2. Flamboyant cuttlefish. Hey there, adventurers of the digital age. Ever heard of the flamboyant cuttlefish? If Instagram existed under the sea, these guys would be the influencer. Just imagine it. A little cephalopod strutting, yes, strutting, not swimming, across the ocean floor. Picture this, an 8-centimeter, dark brown fish with yellow and purple spots doing the undersea version of the moonwalk. But wait, it gets better. They're not just about those casual earthly vibes. When they want to impress or scare off the haters, their skin bursts into a flash mob of colors, like a living, breathing disco ball. Remember those mood rings from the 90s? That's this cuttlefish, but on steroids. And you won't believe this pun. Despite being a fish, they've really mastered the cuddle in cuttlefish. Because their love season is lit, multiple partners and creative egg-laying locations, coconut shells, anyone? But here's a tiny, thought-provoking tidbit. While they're out there living their vibrant, short-lived lives, like only up to 24 months, they're facing threats because of our actions on their ocean floor runway. Makes you wonder, while we're LOLing at memes and sipping our lattes, there's a whole world of wonder just waiting to be liked beneath the waves. Number 1. Frilled shark. Ever heard of a shark that looks like it time-traveled straight out of prehistory? Meet the frilled shark, a sneaky serpent of the sea with a long, eel-like body that sways and slithers, lurking deep beneath the ocean surface. Can you picture its freaky, frilly gills that gave it its fancy name? Now imagine this. It's chilling in the darkness, eyeing a juicy squid, and with a sudden lunge, it snags its snack thanks to those terrifying triple-tipped teeth. Frilled sharks are known to inhabit depths of up to 5,000 feet, where sunlight never reaches, making them one of the most elusive creatures in the ocean. Their slow metabolism and ability to survive in extreme conditions are key to their survival in such a harsh environment. Unlike most sharks, they have a unique hunting style, coiling their bodies like a snake before striking at their prey with lightning speed. Their diet isn't limited to squid. They've also been known to eat fish and other deep-sea creatures, swallowing them whole thanks to their highly flexible jaws. Fossil evidence suggests that frilled sharks have remained virtually unchanged for millions of years, earning them the nickname living fossils. Despite their fearsome appearance, they pose no threat to humans, as their deep-sea habitat keeps them far from our reach. But wait, how do we know all this when they're so rare, you ask? Well, mostly from a few we've stumbled upon by accident, and dare I say, a handful of brave scientists poking around inside them. Oh, and here's a wild tidbit. Mama frilled sharks don't use placentas for their babies. Nope, they let their youngsters munch on yolk sacs till they're ready to face the world. Pretty cool, right? But with them being near threatened, let's hope we get to unravel more of their mysterious stories. Why are these deep-sea creatures still so mysterious? Well, studying them isn't exactly cheap. We need expensive, high-tech submersibles to explore those depths. Got your mind blown yet? Want to dive deeper into more ocean mysteries? Don't just sit there. Hit that like button and subscribe. Join us for more deep-sea adventures, and we'll see you in the next video.